Deshaun Watson and the Texans, coming off an absolute disaster in Baltimore, losing by 34 points, need to bounce back tonight against Indianapolis. And if history is a guide, you should expect it to be a nail-biter. Each of the last 11 regular season games between these teams have been decided by fewer than 10 points. What does Vegas think? Well, Caesars says Houston is the odds-on favorite to win the division, even though Indianapolis has the head-to-head tiebreaker for now. Houston has finished first in 3 of the last 4 years. So, Nick, I'll start with you. Are we buying either of these teams as really significant contenders in the AFC?
I think the Colts are definitely better. They're more of a contender, but no, they're not real contenders. They're not getting past the top 3, which in my mind are the Ravens, the Patriots, and the Kansas City Chiefs. That's it. I mean, those are the teams that they have to beat. They're not better than any.
You agree with that?
Are we sure we want to put the Kansas City Chiefs in the top tier of the AFC right now?
Yes.
I know. Listen, I know we talk about Patrick Mahomes and he's the league MVP from last year, but nobody at this table can tell me after watching the Chiefs against the Chargers and prior weeks that we can absolutely put the Chiefs right now with the New England Patriots and the Baltimore Ravens.
All right, so
I'm not willing to go there right now.
All right, so this isn't what we planned here, but I'm changing this up because are you agreeing with that? Is it a 2-horse race or a 3-horse race right now at the top of the AFC?
I think that's completely ludicrous. I mean, you're talking about Patrick Mahomes, you're talking about weapons, and you know better than I when talking about the playoffs, but we all know this. Playoffs, it comes down to who can get the hottest. The Chiefs have too many weapons, Wood, for you to just be like, it's a 2-horse race.
I'm going to tell you what. You want me to tell you what else happens in the playoffs?
Talk to me.
Defense. Do you see any type of defense from the Kansas City Chiefs right now? They can't stop anyone, and they're not playing as well offensively like they were last year. That's why I cannot right now put the Kansas City Chiefs in the top tier right now.
Shefty.
So let me bring it back to the Colts and Texans. This Colts team is gritty. It's tough. The defense is tough. The offensive line is good. They run the football. They do all the things that you need to do to win in January. And that's why I think the Colts, I'm not saying that they're the favorites in the AFC because they're not. But I think that they could play with those teams and give those teams a tough matchup. I like the Colts team. I think it's a tough football team.
To you, it's a 4-horse. I mean, again, and we've sort of gotten off the rails here a little bit, but it's a 4-horse race for you?
Well, it's a 6-horse race because anything can happen. But I like the Colts in that conversation. Look, the Patriots, Ravens, Chiefs, I put the Chiefs up there. To me, they're head and shoulders. But the Colts, to me, I think are going to make the postseason somehow, some way, and I think they're.
I like that, Shefty. That's nice, but it's wrong. The Colts are not a Super Bowl contender. But I do. Back to your Chiefs point. I hear everyone bashing the defense. I'm not going to say the defense is good, but the defense is better than it was last year. And last year they were an offsides away from going to the Super Bowl. The offense has not been perfect, but Mahomes is coming off an injury, and with Mahomes healthy and everyone in the weapons there, that offense is going to score. And I don't think there are many teams in AFC that can score enough to beat them.
Well, yesterday I asked Dominique and others on my set to pick their Super Bowl matchup right now, and you gave me Kansas City in the AFC. And D Wood, you're sitting over here taking them out of the mix.
No, listen. I know what watching those teams the whole season. I don't see them beating Baltimore right now. Especially the way Baltimore plays defense. Everyone talks about Lamar Jackson and that offense and how scary it is because it's different.
Hold on. No. They played already. And the Chiefs won, so you can't say that it's an impossibility.
That was a while ago. I'm talking about right now. Do you think the Chiefs? The Chiefs right now get the Baltimore Ravens?
The Super Bowl nor the playoffs are right now, and that's what it comes down to. So you have to look at potential, and when you look at potential, Patrick Mahomes has potential. Travis Kelce, Mecole Hardman, Tyreek Hill. That's too much.
And you have to play defense in the playoffs. That's what I'm saying right now. No defense. I just don't see it.
Nope. The only team in there that looks like it could potentially be really complete is Baltimore.
Yeah,
the Chiefs obviously have a major flaw on the defensive side. No one would disagree with that. The Patriots offensively, whoever would have thought would be saying that, but the Patriots offense looks like their Achilles heel. Shefty, you said to me in the meeting this morning, you think they are as vulnerable as they have looked in a long time.
That's how they've looked. They still have the best record in football. They're still going to have home field advantage, and good luck to the team that has to go into Foxborough in January and beat them. Saying all that, yes, I do think they're vulnerable to be beat this year.
Okay, we have a million other things to do. The biggest story in the NFL right now is everyone sitting, watching, and waiting for a decision. Maria, let's pick it up from there.
Yeah, you're definitely right, Greeny. We've all been talking about this all week long. And Myles Garrett, he met with appeals officer James Thrash yesterday to appeal his indefinite suspension after hitting Steelers quarterback Mason Rudolph with his helmet 1 week ago. Shefty's made a little bit of a jog over to the living room space here, and I know that you've certainly been following this story along with everyone else because it's taken over and dominated the headlines in the NFL. Walk us through what Myles Garrett's actual plea was to the league.
His plea was that we had not seen a suspension this long in the history of football for an on-field act. We saw Vontaze Burfict, but there were repeated acts in that particular case. In this case, it was one isolated incident. And it was an incident that had everybody talking because we've never seen anybody swing a helmet before. But the NFL, we saw that in the preseason with the Houston Texans defensive end, Richie Incognito, 3 games. There was a 1-game regular season suspension, 2 in the preseason for Andre Smith back then in 2013. So Myles Garrett argues that this is unprecedented punishment for this particular act. Meanwhile, I think what's going to happen here is we already saw the league uphold the 1-game suspension on Larry Ogunjobi. And today, I expect a decision on Marquise Pouncey. He had his appeal heard on Tuesday with Derek Brooks. I think we'll hear something at some point today on the Marquise Pouncey decision. And Myles Garrett could come down the decision on that appeal at any point, I think, this week or whenever the league decides.
So you don't know exactly when they could be bringing it down?
I think sooner rather than later, but it will all depend upon when James Thrash, the appeals officer, finally writes that up.
Okay, well, let's walk through the Chicago Bears right now because obviously they have some issues at quarterback right now. Another disappointing week for Mitchell Trubisky. The game ended with him on the bench, getting pulled late, and it was later revealed that he had a hip injury. And here's Matt Nagy on the status of his quarterback.
We want him out there to be our starter and to be playing. That's what we want. And then, so how do we get to that point? And we're going to do everything we can to get him right so he is a starter.
For sure, it's me. If I'm good to go, I'm going out there. No restrictions, going out there and play. And I just got to communicate with coach and the training staff where I'm at, how I'm feeling, and take it day by day and just prepare to play.
All right, so officially it is being considered a hip injury. Let's add to the status of that. What can you update?
Well, he was out there at practice yesterday and went through practice. So if Mitchell Trubisky's out there at practice, going through a full practice, the expectation at this point in time, unless he suffers some sort of setback, is that he will be out there against the New York Giants. And a lot of people have wondered, would this be the time that the Bears would go to Chase Daniel? They'd sit Mitchell Trubisky. Last year, we saw when Sam Darnold got hurt with the Jets when he was struggling, that some time off helped him physically and mentally. And I think there are a lot of people around the league who believe that the same would be true of Mitchell Trubisky now. But right now, with him on the practice field, despite that hip injury, going through the full workout, it's hard to think or see that the Bears would bench him when he's out there practicing. So I think right now we're expecting to see Trubisky start the game on Sunday against the Giants.
I know we're talking about an injury, but what is the biggest issue right now for this Bears offense?
Well, I think the biggest thing is that Mitch Trubisky looks like he's thinking way too much. Their offensive line has not been great this year, and the quarterback play has been bogged down by a number of issues. And when he's lacking confidence and when he's thinking too much and he's not playing the way he did last year when he showed he's capable of being a good quarterback, it just seems that everything gets bogged down.
Yeah, well, that makes sense. And right now he's dead last in the NFL in yards per attempt. So obviously Mitchell Trubisky looking for some things to turn and look up for him in Chicago, Greeny.
Absolutely. Maria, thank you. And listen, I guess I'll just put it this way. Are you buying that Mitchell Trubisky is hurt?
I'm buying that his feelings are hurt right now. Yeah. Hey, listen, the one thing I'll say, the big guy in the sky does not lie.
D-Wood.
Okay, and both these guys right here know when you're in the building and you're watching tape, everybody's looking at it like, man, this dude stinks. We can't say it to the media, but everyone in that building knows that Mitchell Trubisky is not playing well. The defense knows that they have to basically win games on their own because they're not getting anything from the quarterback, but they can't make a move because they don't even have a backup that they can trust.
Yeah, I think Mitch Trubisky's days in Chicago are done. It pains me to say that. Great guy, good man. But as a player right now, it's not going well. And in all honesty, Greeny, I think it's deeper than that. I think Ryan Pace, the general manager, Matt Nagy, they're holding on to a lifeboat because they realize their fate is tied to Mitch Trubisky. They got Mitch Trubisky early in the first round. They know that, like, as a GM, you get fired for those kind of mistakes. So they're hoping that Mitch pans out. Mitch is trying to pan out, but it's not.
Well, I don't think Nagy was there when they drafted him. So
he was hired basically as one of these quarterback gurus who was supposed to take Mitchell Trubisky and make him a great player. So, yes, he wasn't there when it happened, but I do agree that if Trubisky fails, part of that has to fall on the coach.
Yeah, I mean, it's a tough situation because one of the things that's hard for us to measure is like a team's culture and a team's morale. And to D. Wood's point, when you don't have confidence in that guy and he feels like he's killing him, it's hard to continue to prepare and play defense or play O-line or play other positions in the way that you would need to, because that type of stuff breaks you down, particularly when you think that they're getting special treatment. When they see what we see, you're like, man, you had a hit pointer, you can play through a hit pointer. This is nonsense. We know that everybody's trying to protect your feelings. We got to turn off TVs because of you. We got to do all this because of you. That hurts a team morale.
And the thing is, man, let me sip this water before I really get into something like that.
What you mean? Don't get scared. That's why you're here. What you got to say?
No, what I got to say, you hit it. You were preaching the gospel right now, just now, because everyone sees that this dude is not playing well, but then you see the whole organization pandering to this guy, knowing that if he was any other player, they would have no problem benching him. But when it comes to Mitchell Trubisky, everybody is so caught up in his feelings.
That's my point. They don't have a choice because, if you're the GM, you went all in on Mitch. You don't have a choice.
But in defense of Mitch and in this organization, that's the guy you got.
True.
So that's the guy you got. So if